Every revolution begins in silence. Not in applause, not in noise, but in the quiet moment when someone looks at their life and finally says, enough. That single moment has changed the course of history more than armies, more than governments, more than luck ever could. It is the moment when a human being stops asking for permission to live the life they were born to build. The world is filled with people waiting. Waiting for approval. Waiting for opportunity. Waiting for someone to open a door for them. Waiting for the timing to be perfect. They wait so long that their dreams grow cold inside them. They mistake waiting for patience, but they are not the same thing. Patience is a weapon in the hands of the prepared. Waiting is a coffin for the dreams of the uncertain. The greatest tragedy isn't that people fail. It's that most people never even begin. They live their lives asking for permission to rise. Permission from their friends. Permission from their families. Permission from strangers who don't even know their name. Permission from a world that is too busy to care. They live like prisoners with unlocked doors. No one will ever give you permission to be great. No one will hand you a certificate that says you are ready now. No one will knock on your door and say, "This is your moment, take it." The world doesn't work like that. The world belongs to those who decide. Look back at every giant in history. Thomas Edison didn't wait for permission to light the world. Walt Disney didn't wait for permission to imagine castles and kingdoms out of swamps. Abraham Lincoln didn't wait for permission to lead a broken nation. Henry Ford didn't wait for permission to build a machine everyone said was impossible. Andrew Carnegie didn't wait for permission to rise from poverty to power. They all understood one truth: permission is a myth. The most powerful thing you can do in this life is give yourself permission. Permission to act. Permission to try. Permission to fail. Permission to rise again. Permission to dream in a world that laughs at dreamers. Permission to lead in a world that follows the crowd. And yet, most people spend their entire lives in the waiting room of their destiny, staring at the door, hoping someone else will open it. They give away their power every day. They ask people who are lost themselves for directions to their future. They let doubt disguise itself as responsibility. They let fear dress itself up as logic. They let small minds dictate the size of their vision. Success does not ask. It claims. Success doesn't wait to be invited to the table. It builds its own. There's a moment in every story when the hero realizes that no help is coming. No cavalry is riding in. No hand is reaching down. That moment either breaks them or it births them. For most, it breaks them. For a few, it ignites something unstoppable. The difference between those who rise and those who sink is simple. Those who rise understand that the permission they were waiting for was theirs to give all along. People say they're waiting for the right time. But time doesn't give you permission either. It doesn't care about your fear. It doesn't slow down because you're uncertain. It moves with or without you. And if you stand still too long, your dreams grow old before you do. The truth is, the right time is the moment you decide to move. That's it. That's the secret. The moment you stop asking and start building, the world begins to shift. Doors that didn't exist before begin to appear. People who never saw you before begin to notice. Paths that seemed impossible begin to form under your feet. The universe does not respond to hesitation, it responds to action. When Walt Disney told the world about his vision, they laughed. They called it absurd, naive, childish. He didn't argue. He didn't beg them to believe. He gave himself permission to build. That swamp turned into a kingdom. When Thomas Edison burned through thousands of failures to find a way to light the night, no one was handing him approval slips. He gave himself permission to keep going. When Henry Ford wanted to build a car for ordinary people, the experts mocked him. He didn't wait for their blessing. He built anyway. You see, the people who wait for permission become spectators. The people who give themselves permission become history. The world isn't kind to those who hesitate. It rewards those who act. The world doesn't open doors for those who knock softly. It opens for those who kick them down. Waiting for permission is like waiting for the ocean to calm before you set sail. It never will. The storm is part of the journey. The uncertainty is the signal that it's real. If the road was clear, everyone would walk it. The reason your dream scares you is because it matters. Most people hide behind the idea of being realistic. They use it to mask fear. But realism has never built anything extraordinary. Realism never put a man on the moon. Realism never turned a blank canvas into a masterpiece. Realism never built an empire out of nothing. Vision did. Belief did. The decision to stop waiting did. Napoleon Hill wrote, "What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But he didn't say it happens when the world approves. He didn't say it happens when everything is easy. He said it happens when belief turns into action. Success doesn't care about your background. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about who doubted you. It only answers one thing: movement. If you move, it moves. If you stand still, it leaves you behind. When you wait for permission, you hand your future to other people. You let their fear become your ceiling. You let their doubt become your reality. You let their limits become your prison. But the moment you give yourself permission, the chains snap. The ceiling cracks. The prison door swings open. And no, it won't be easy. No one said it would be. Giving yourself permission means walking a path others are too afraid to walk. It means being misunderstood. It means moving without applause. It means believing in something no one else can see. But the greatest fire is built in silence. The loudest storms are conquered in solitude. The strongest people you know were once alone with nothing but a decision. People wait for external validation because it's easier. It's easier to say no one supported me than to face the truth that you never supported yourself. It's easier to blame timing than to admit fear. It's easier to stay safe than to step into the storm. But safe kills dreams. The people you admire didn't become who they are because the world opened doors for them. They became who they are because they built doors where walls stood. They moved when others hesitated. They believed when others mocked. They didn't wait to be chosen. They chose themselves. This is the greatest truth most people never understand. You don't need permission to become extraordinary. You don't need a degree to think big. You don't need applause to take the first step. You don't need anyone to understand before you begin. You only need a decision. A single, unwavering, unshakable decision to move. You must stop waiting. Waiting for perfect timing. Waiting for the right support. Waiting for courage to magically appear. Courage doesn't come before the leap. It comes after. It's built in motion. The day you stop waiting for permission is the day your life begins to change. The day you stop asking the world for a seat at the table is the day you start building your own. The day you stop caring if they understand is the day you set yourself free. Every empire began with someone who refused to wait. Every great name you know is written in history because someone decided they were enough. The question isn't whether the world will give you permission. It won't. The question is whether you will give it to yourself. They keep waiting, hoping someone will notice their potential, hoping someone will hand them a golden key, hoping life will tap them on the shoulder and say, "It's your turn." But the world doesn't work like that. The world moves for those who stop waiting and start building. No one gave Thomas Edison permission to invent light. No one gave Walt Disney permission to imagine a world that didn't exist. No one gave Henry Ford permission to reshape an industry. They were not waiting for applause. They were too busy creating it. They were too busy working while the world was doubting. They were too focused on their vision to ask for approval. This is where most people lose, not in the middle of the battle, but before it ever begins. They convince themselves they're not ready. They tell themselves they need more time, more support, more clarity. But the truth is what they need most is permission from themselves. The loudest gatekeeper of your destiny is not the world. It's the voice in your head telling you that you can't go any further without someone else's blessing. Success is not given, it's claimed. The moment you stop seeking approval is the moment your power returns to you. The moment you stop waiting is the moment the weight begins to lift from your chest. Because what's been holding you back was never the world. It was your own hesitation. Your own belief that someone out there had to open a door for you. But the door was never locked, it was waiting for you to push. People underestimate the cost of waiting. They think they're standing still. But they're not. Every day they wait. Someone else moves. Every hour they hesitate. Their dream grows colder. Every time they look for permission. They hand away their future, and one day, They look back and realize the opportunity wasn't stolen, it was surrendered. This is the uncomfortable truth about success. The world doesn't reward those who wait patiently. It rewards those who act with conviction. The people who stand at the edge of uncertainty and step forward anyway. Those are the ones who change their lives. Those are the ones who write history. The ones who look at their fear and say, I will not let you decide for me. Courage is not born in permission. It's born in rebellion. It's born when you decide to move even when everyone else tells you to stay still. It's born when you stop asking the world for a seat at the table and build your own. It's born when you stop needing validation to feel worthy. People think they need more confidence to act, but that's a lie. Action builds confidence, not the other way around. Confidence is forged in the fire of movement. It's built in the nights when no one believes in you but you. It's shaped in the silence when the applause hasn't arrived yet. When the world is watching but not clapping, that's where real power is born. Napoleon Hill wrote that every person carries within them the seed of their own greatness, but most never plant it because they're waiting for the world to tell them it's safe. But it's never safe, greatness is never safe, dreams are never comfortable, and success has never belonged to those who asked for permission to rise. It belongs to those who take responsibility for their own fire. You don't need permission to start, you need a decision. You don't need approval to move, you need a direction. You don't need certainty to take the first step, you need belief, not belief in the world, belief in yourself. Because when you believe in yourself deeply enough, the world begins to adjust around you. When Abraham Lincoln decided to lead, the nation was broken. There was no approval, no guarantee, no clarity, only chaos. But he stepped into the storm and carved a path through it. When Edison decided to light the world, failure surrounded him like smoke. When Ford decided to build, no one believed in the vision. When Disney imagined magic, the world laughed. But they didn't need permission, they needed movement. That is the difference between those who build and those who wonder. Those who build give themselves permission. Those who wonder wait for someone else to hand it to them, and it never comes. Most people are addicted to permission because permission feels safe. It means if things go wrong, they have someone to blame, someone to point to. But the great ones understand that no one is coming. No one is going to do it for them. No one is going to say the words that give them power, because that power was theirs from the start. The world doesn't give power, it recognizes it. And it only recognizes it after you've stepped forward. You must understand something. Greatness is not awarded like a prize. It's taken like a stand. You can spend your life asking for permission, waiting to be picked, hoping someone sees your potential, or you can decide, right now, that your dream doesn't need their approval to live, it only needs your courage to begin. When you stop waiting, everything changes, your language changes, your posture changes, your energy changes, you stop asking questions like can I? And start saying I will. You stop looking at others to lead and start leading yourself. You stop apologizing for wanting more and start becoming more, and that shift, internal, invisible to the world at first, is the spark that ignites everything. Waiting feels safe, but it's the slowest form of dying. It drains your fire one quiet day at a time. It makes you believe that tomorrow will be different. But tomorrow is nothing more than a mirror of today if you don't act. Success doesn't arrive wrapped in permission slips. It arrives wrapped in hard decisions, terrifying steps, and an unshakable belief that no one can stop you once you decide to move. The people who change their lives don't ask, they act. They don't wait for confidence. They build it with every step. They don't ask for the world's approval. They prove the world wrong with their results. They move when no one claps. They work when no one believes. They start when everyone else is still talking about starting. You are capable of more than you can imagine, but the door to that life will not open because you knock softly. It will open because you refuse to keep standing on the porch. It will open because you stopped waiting for someone to let you in and kicked it down yourself. No one will ever give you permission to build the life you want. That's the truth that either breaks people or sets them free. The world isn't waiting to pick you, it's waiting for you to pick yourself. Permission is not something the world gives you, it's something you give yourself, and once you truly understand that, everything begins to change. Because the moment you stop waiting for approval is the moment your life starts moving again. Hesitation feels safe. But safety is the most expensive illusion you can buy. It costs you time, it costs you dreams. It costs you everything you say you want but are too afraid to reach for. You think you're protecting yourself by waiting, but you're not. You're shrinking. The longer you wait, the more you convince yourself that the door is locked. But the door was never locked, you just never tried to push. Look at the lives of those who rewrote history. not when they were celebrated, but when they were ignored, when no one saw what they saw, when the world told them to sit down, to wait their turn, and they said no. Walt Disney didn't need a committee to approve his dream. Thomas Edison didn't need applause to keep building in the dark. Henry Ford didn't need validation from experts who said he was foolish. Abraham Lincoln didn't wait for a world torn apart to hand him the power to fix it. They gave themselves permission to act, to lead, to believe when everyone else laughed. Every single one of them faced what you face now, that invisible wall of doubt built not by the world, but by the mind, that whisper that says you need permission. That lie that keeps kings and queens crawling when they were meant to stand. The world is full of people with extraordinary dreams who are waiting for someone to tell them it's okay to begin. But the people who rise, the people who leave a mark, they never wait, they light the match themselves. And the world has no choice but to feel their fire. There will never be a perfect time, and if you keep waiting for it, life will pass you by. The dream that burns in you now will become a ghost that haunts you later. Hesitation is not neutral. It's not harmless. It is the slow death of everything you could have been. Waiting for permission is the most dangerous decision you'll ever make because it convinces you it's not a decision at all. But it is. It always is. Every day you don't move is a decision to stay exactly where you are. This is why the greats moved before they were ready, because they understood that readiness isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. Readiness is built in motion. Courage is not handed to you in a quiet, gentle moment of clarity. Courage is built in the noise, in the unknown. In the moments when your hands are shaking and your heart is screaming at you to turn back. The people who rise are not fearless. They're relentless. They act anyway. People spend their entire lives asking for invisible permission slips. Permission to think big, to step forward, to dream without apology. Permission to build something extraordinary. But the truth is no one is holding those slips. No one but you. You are the one waiting on yourself, and every second you do, the fire dims a little more, not because it wasn't strong, but because you refuse to feed it. The most powerful moment in your life will not be the day someone believes in you. It will be the day you stop needing them to. The day you decide your dream is enough, your belief is enough, your action is enough. That is the day the chains fall. That is the day momentum begins. That is the day you stop begging the world for a seat at the table and start building the table yourself. Understand this, the world does not care about your potential. It only responds to your action. Potential is a story you tell yourself. Action is the proof. The day Edison stopped talking about light and started building it, the world took notice. The day Disney stopped describing dreams and started drawing them, the world took notice. The day Ford turned vision into machinery, the world took notice, not before. This is the truth most will never face, because it's easier to keep waiting, it's easier to blame timing, to blame circumstance, to blame the world for not opening the door. But you are not meant to wait in the hallway of your own destiny. You are meant to walk through it. You are meant to break the door if you have to, because it was never someone else's to open. When you stop waiting, the air changes, the energy shifts, you start walking differently, speaking differently, thinking differently. Because when you give yourself permission, you stop looking outside for validation. And that's when the world starts to follow, not because it gave you power, but because it can no longer ignore the power you claimed. This is where belief becomes fire, where doubt becomes quiet, where hesitation becomes fuel. Because when you decide to stop waiting, you stop existing on the sidelines of your own story. You step into the center, and the weight of that moment will be terrifying. But it will also be liberating, because the scariest step is always the first, the one that belongs to you and no one else. Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But most people forget the third element of that truth. Act. They conceive the dream, they believe it's possible, and then they wait for permission that never comes. The greats conceive, they believe, and then they move, and that movement is what pulls everything else into place. No one is coming to pick you, no one is coming to hand you a crown, no one is coming to write your name into history for you. If you want it, you must pick yourself, you must crown yourself, you must carve your name into the wall of time with your own hands. Waiting for permission is not humility, it's fear disguised as reason, and fear is a liar. Do not wait another second. Do not give hesitation another ounce of your power. The life you want will not appear because the world finally decided you're worthy. It will appear because you decided you were worthy without the world's permission. You owe it to the person you could become to stop asking for permission to become them. You owe it to the fire in your chest to let it burn. You owe it to the dream that chose you to give it life. History is waiting. Not for them. For you, and when the noise fades, when the excuses finally run out, when the world grows quiet enough for you to hear your own heartbeat, that's when you face the truth that no one is holding you back but you. The truth that you were not waiting on the world, you were waiting on yourself, waiting to believe, waiting to decide, waiting to finally step out of the cage you built with hesitation. That truth is not gentle. It does not come wrapped in comfort. It hits like a storm, but that storm can set you free. Every dream you've ever carried is standing behind a single moment of courage. Just one. Not endless plans. Not perfect timing. Not permission from anyone else. One decision. One act. One declaration that says, I'm done waiting. And the second you make it, something shifts in the universe. Life stops moving around you and starts moving with you. You are no longer a passenger in your story. You are the author. This is what separates the dreamers from the builders. Everyone dreams. Few build. Everyone hopes. Few act. Everyone wants. Few claim. The difference isn't intelligence. It isn't luck. It isn't opportunity. It's the moment of decision. It's the refusal to keep living on pause. The greats knew this truth. Thomas Edison could have waited for better funding, better labs, better odds, but he didn't. He built in the dark until light existed. Walt Disney could have waited for investors to believe in his vision, but he didn't. He drew until the world could see what he saw. Henry Ford could have listened to experts who told him it was impossible, but he didn't. He built until the world was forced to follow. Abraham Lincoln could have waited for calmer times, but he didn't. He stepped into history's fire and led. None of them were chosen. They chose themselves. And so must you. There will be moments where your legs shake, your hands tremble, your breath feels thin. But that is not weakness. That is proof you are alive, proof you are standing at the threshold of something real. Fear is not the signal to stop. It's the signal to begin. Every heartbeat that pounds in your chest is a war drum telling you it's time to move. The most dangerous thing you can ever do is wait. Wait for someone else to understand your vision. Wait for the right time that doesn't exist. Wait for the world to give you what it has never given anyone. Waiting is the quiet killer of potential. It doesn't crush you all at once. It drains you slowly. It convinces you that tomorrow is guaranteed. But tomorrow is only real for those who act today. Give yourself permission. Permission to be bold. Permission to make mistakes. Permission to stand up when no one claps. Permission to take the first step with nothing but belief in your heart. Permission to fail and rise again. Because failure will not destroy you, but hesitation will. And yes, they will doubt you. They will question you. They will not understand at first. But they don't have to. The world always doubts what it hasn't seen yet. But once they see what you've built, they will call it vision. Once they feel the heat of your fire, they will call it power. Once they watch you rise without permission, they will call it destiny. But it won't be destiny. It will be decision. When you stop waiting for permission, you stop begging for your place in the world and start claiming it. You stop living for applause and start living with purpose. You stop shrinking your vision to fit small minds and start expanding your steps to match your dream. Napoleon Hill wrote of the burning desire that lives in all who achieve, the inner fire that cannot be taught or given, it must be unleashed. And unleashing it begins with a single act of rebellion against permission. It begins with saying, I don't need anyone to tell me I can. I will. There's a moment in every life when you stop waiting for a sign. Because you are the sign. There's a moment in every life when you stop hoping the door will open. Because you are the door. There's a moment in every life when you stop asking if you're ready. Because you make yourself ready. That moment is the birthplace of everything you've ever wanted. So stand up. Breathe in. Look at the world not as someone seeking permission, but as someone ready to build. Ready to lead. Ready to rise. You are not here to wait. You are here to become. The ones who change everything don't ask, they act. They don't wait for the future, they build it. They don't hope to be chosen, they choose themselves. This is your moment. No one is coming to hand it to you, so stop waiting, begin. And when the dust of hesitation settles, when the noise of other people's opinions finally grows faint, when the world stops spinning so fast that you can hear your own breath, there will come a moment, a quiet, terrifying, liberating moment, when you realize no one can give you the life you want but you. No one can hand you your destiny wrapped in permission slips. No one can lift you into greatness but the power that's already inside you, waiting to be unleashed. This is where everything begins, not in the applause, not in the spotlight, not in the validation of others, but in that raw, personal decision to stop waiting, to stop seeking, to stop kneeling before doubt and rise into ownership of your own story. The second you make that decision, something ancient and powerful wakes up inside you. Something that's been there all along, buried under layers of fear, excuses, and permission-seeking. It's not motivation. It's not hype. It's authority. The authority over your own life that you gave away a long time ago. The world will not make room for your dream until you claim the space yourself. And yes, it will resist you. It will question you. It will doubt you. It will test your every step. But the world has always bowed to those who refuse to back down. It has always moved for the ones who keep moving when others wait. Every castle standing on the horizon was once a pile of dirt beneath someone's feet. Every empire began with a single act of defiance against permission. Walt Disney didn't build magic because someone handed him a kingdom. He built it because he saw something no one else could see and stopped asking them to understand. Thomas Edison didn't light the world because people told him he could. He did it because he decided to even when they called him a fool. Henry Ford didn't shape industry by asking the experts for their blessing. He ignored their laughter and built anyway. Abraham Lincoln didn't wait for easier times to lead. He led because someone had to, and no one else was willing. That is the difference between those who are remembered and those who are forgotten. The remembered ones stopped waiting. The forgotten ones never began. You must understand, there will be no grand announcement that this is your time. There will be no sign flashing in the sky that the world approves. You have to move in the silence, while no one is watching, when doubt is loudest, when the path is invisible, when everything in you wants to wait for certainty that will never come. Certainty isn't given. It's built by those who dare to move without it. This is the fire no one can give you. This is the strength no one can lend. This is the moment where belief steps out of the shadows and takes control. Belief doesn't need permission. Purpose doesn't need applause. Greatness doesn't ask if it's allowed to exist. It commands its own place. Every day you wait, hesitation writes a line in your story. Every day you move, purpose takes the pen back. One day, when the years have passed, you'll look back at this very moment. You'll either remember it as the day everything started, or the day everything was lost to waiting. No one will remember the dream you never built. No one will mourn the empire you never began. No one will cry for the life that could have been. But you will. That wait will find you in the quiet hours, in the reflection of a life unlived. And that is why this moment matters. Do not let the fear of being misunderstood keep you small. Do not let the hunger for approval silence the roar of your ambition. Do not let waiting turn your dream into a ghost that whispers, "What if?" for the rest of your life. Give yourself permission. Speak the words out loud if you must. Say it like a promise, "I don't need permission to rise." Say it until your doubt starts to tremble. Say it until your vision stands taller than your fear. Say it until your first step feels inevitable. Because when you move with conviction, the world notices. Not immediately, not kindly, but eventually. Because the world bows to persistence. It bows to vision. It bows to the unstoppable. This is your life. No one is coming to pick you. No one is coming to hand you greatness. No one is coming to light the fire in your chest for you. That is your job. And you were born with everything you need to do it. Stop waiting for permission. Start building the life you keep seeing in your mind. Not tomorrow. Not one day. Now. And when they doubt you, let them. When they laugh, let them. When they question, let them. None of that matters. What matters is that you moved. What matters is that you stopped living on pause. What matters is that you finally stood up and claimed what has been yours all along. The power to decide you are not asking anymore. You are becoming.